Hello again. I am back for Boundaries Part 2, episode 21 of Relatables, I believe, and my fourth video on the fourth day of my 100 days of videos coming at you. It's a crazy challenge. Hang on. I can turn it off. I might get some calls during this. So this piece of boundaries is, I think, the biggest, and it's a metaphor that I've been using for quite a while now, and it keeps growing and getting better or worse. You be the judge. You be the judge of that. It's a metaphor that's not appropriate for children. So if you have tiny ears listening, then put some earbuds in or listen to this later. The first thing that I want to say is that I want to be clear that drawing boundaries is not comfortable, especially in the beginning. And I have a lot of clients who say, okay, well, I'll figure out how to be comfortable about that and then I'll do it. And I'm like, no, you're going to be super uncomfortable when you have this boundary. And the more that you do that, the more comfort you're going to have in drawing boundaries. But it's not the other way around. You're not going to feel comfortable and then start drawing boundaries. You're going to feel incredibly uncomfortable, super awkward. It's going to be hard, and you do it anyway. And the comfort comes from the practice and the results that you get from having these great, healthy boundaries. So that's number one, discomfort. Feel the discomfort and do it anyway. I have some notes here, so you know it's an important topic for me. And it's also uncomfortable because you're reteaching people how to treat you. You've been teaching people how to treat you for perhaps decades. And they're not going to be used to these new standards that you have. And they might not be getting as much from you. They might not get to drain you so much, and they are not going to like that, and they might put up a fight. I think that people want to believe that you start drawing boundaries and your life just falls into place and everybody likes you more. It's not true. Some people might not like you. I had a professor in the beginning of my counseling program who looked at all of us in our first class and said, you know, by the end of this program, you know, you're going to lose some people. Your life is not going to look the way that it does right now, and you have to be okay with that. And I thought it was very dramatic. Like, okay, lady, like, not really sure my life's going to look that different. And she was completely right. When I cleaned up how I treated myself, there was a cleaning up that went on the outside too, because then those things weren't in alignment. And some people weren't okay with my new boundaries and standards, and that's okay. That's their choice. And that means that we don't have as much contact anymore. And that's okay, and that's their choice. So boundaries are not always comfortable. They're in fact quite uncomfortable. Oh, what do I want to talk about next? Oh, it's so juicy. It's so big. This topic is like, okay. So this is what I think what happens, what I hear about. You have a boundary, then the other person starts compiling evidence for why you shouldn't feel that way, why that's not what he was doing, why that's not what he meant, and the defenses start. You start saying, yes, you did do that. They start saying, no, you didn't. You start saying, that's not okay. Well, that's not what I did. And the boundary goes nowhere. And you get no results. So you go back to sweeping your own wants, needs, nose under the rug because, man, this drawing boundary stuff is just not worth it. So let me give you an example of a client conversation that I had recently, because we've got to change the template. And again, the metaphor I'm using for boundaries is not children appropriate. So if you have tiny ears listening, put in your earbuds or listen later. So I was listening to clients' frustrations about her mother-in-law. And at a gathering recently, the mother-in-law said, you know, we just never see you anymore, which is passive-aggressive. It's you don't do enough, you don't do it right, and your priorities are screwed up. I mean, I don't know how many things that I could say. But they do it in a whiny, meek voice, and it makes you think, oh, they're just being nice. But they're not. It's passive-aggressive, and it's not okay. And so she said, so I drew a boundary with her. I said, great. What did it look like? And she said, I lost it. I said, what are you talking about? We saw you Tuesday and Thursday, and we invited you to this thing on Saturday, and you chose not to come, and that's on you. And I said, okay, you communicated that is not okay. I am angry, and you also communicated I'm right, you're wrong, I'm sane, you're crazy. And she was like, oh, shoot. Now, why? Why does that happen to us? Why do we have this big reaction when somebody comes at us with, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it enough, you're wrong, your priorities are screwed up? We throw it all back at them, right? This is where we need to change the template. It's us buying into the old template. The old template is, your happiness is my job. Your happiness depends on my behavior. The new template is, my happiness is my job. And your happiness is your job. If that's the case, if somebody comes at you with, you're not doing it enough and you're not doing it right, and we just don't see you anymore, then if there's no part of you that's in agreement with the old template, that person's happiness is your job. If there's no part of you that's in agreement with, you didn't do it right or you didn't do enough, and that's your own self-work. If there's no part of you that's in agreement with that, you get to have a really different response that isn't defensive. So, and this is what I hear from so many clients. It's like figuring out what's mine and what's hers. What's mine and what's his. What's mine and what's my mother-in-law's. What's mine and what's my husband's. And if it's not yours, you get to have a different response. So it's like, this is my analogy. This is my metaphor. It's like if your neighbor has a St. Bernard and it's shitting all over your neighbor's yard. You have a big fence. It's got a door. It's shut. The neighbor has a huge St. Bernard and it's shitting all over their yard. You don't feel the need like, oh, I got to get out there and clean that shit. You don't feel that need because it's not yours. You go, well, I mean, my dog poop's cleaned up, so I'm not really going to worry about their dog poop because it's not mine. So when somebody knocks on your gate, and this is what I hear so much, like, my husband is making me angry, and my wife has ruined my day, and my family is ruining my life. To me, that is just over and over again somebody coming to your gate with a wheelbarrow full of dog poop and knocking and saying, hey, I have this dog poop, I want to dump in your driveway. And you go, open the gate, while simultaneously being frustrated about them putting it in your driveway when you just shut the gate. Like, it's not yours. Just say, no, not opening the gate today. This is the boundary, the fence between my yard, your yard, my shit, your shit. Okay? So when I said this to my clients, she and her husband were just like, because that was the tiny little missing piece. That was the difference between her having a response and letting her mom come over and dump the poo, and then her getting her poo and flinging it into her yard, and then they're just flinging poo, and it's escalating argument where back and forth defenses. I had another client who, if you're a child of divorce, this will probably look familiar. A parent was complaining that, well, you hang out with your dad all the time and you don't hang out with me. And that's tough. That's tough. And it might be true. You might not be hanging out with her as much as you're hanging out with him. And she's not stating what she wants or what she needs. She's decoding that is, you're doing it wrong and you're not doing it right and you're not doing enough. And that's enough to make anyone defensive. That's enough to make anyone want to start compiling evidence about how they do it right and how they are enough. But if there's no part of you that buys into that, you get to say like, oh, I hear you want to hang out with me more. And that's okay to say, but you don't get to act out on me. And so it's like, you shut your gate. You shut your gate. So, and the options. The options are, Somebody says something like that to you, you open your gate, you let them dump. And I think that part of that opening your gate is not knowing the difference between that's theirs and this is mine, not having the template that her happiness is her job and my happiness is my job. And if she has a want and a need, she can say that and I will open the gate. If she wants to attack and blame me, then I'm going to shut the gate. Not mine. Not okay. Oh, that was it. That was it. And I had this in my family history too. The mom felt like that the daughter should not have contact with the dad because the dad chose to leave the family. And I said, well, when there's no part of you that buys into that, then you don't defend it. It's your relationship with him is your job, and my relationship with him is my job. And you choosing not to have a relationship with him is your business. And me choosing to have a relationship with him is my business. And so the inarguable response is, my relationship with my dad is my business. Your relationship with him is your business. You get to see him or not see him as much or as little as you want. My relationship with my dad is my business. It's like shutting the gate. Oh, they're trying to push in the gate. Shut the gate. Shut the gate. My relationship with my dad is my business, and I am not willing to talk about it. Lock the gate. On repeat. There's nothing to argue about there. There's no defending, well, I saw him these days, and I saw him you these days, and badass people don't spend time defending themselves. They just have really clear boundaries. That's not up for discussion. My relationship with him is my business, and I'm not willing to talk about that. And what that does is it doesn't invite an argument, and it teaches them how to treat you in the future. That is not a subject you're willing to talk about, and you're shutting it. And if they have issues and feelings about that, then that's their work. That's their shit. That's something that they need to find a therapist for. But it's not yours. And so I wonder what the percentage of shit in your life that isn't yours. Think about that. Oof. Okay, if you want to hang out with me more, which might be doubtful after the amount of times I said shit in this video, you can head to my website for my free training for busy couples. I have an event coming up for moms on February 8th in cahoots with Kids Explore. We're going to be talking about how to get your mojo back. There's going to be wine and chocolate and jewelry, and there are tickets still available. And I have this weekend, there are a couple tickets left, a couples date night workshop where we're going to be doing some relationship visioning and setting out a clear vision for your relationship for 2018, getting on the same page. That's like 3/4 of the battle. So I will talk to you all soon. I'll put links to those things below. And stay tuned. 100 days, 100 videos. Bye.